It always feels good when receiving special treatment. It makes you feel appreciated and welcomed. You get a feeling of comfortableness in whichever environment you are. So how could anyone not like this? Favoritism is defined as the practice of giving unfair, preferential treatment to one person or group at the expense of another. This act occurs everywhere. Have you ever been affected by favoritism? Whether you're the party that's being left out or the party getting special treatment, you are still being affected by favoritism. Today, I will walk you through examples of favoritism in the work environment, school environment, and at home, as well as how favoritism affects people. To start, favoritism at work. How does favoritism occur in the work setting? Favoritism can be noticed clearly when scheduling employees. If you are the favorite, managers are more likely to be flexible with your schedule. This can be frustrating for colleagues because they are entitled to the same exact amount of time off and sick days. Managers also allow some workers to decide what days they can and want to work, and also the days they don't want to be scheduled. Favoritism also occurs when owners and/or managers are going through job applications and hiring people. A form of favoritism called nepotism is the practice among those with power or influence of favoring relatives or friends, especially by giving them jobs, defined by Oxford University Press. This practice tends to occur very often because it reduces recruiting costs and makes it much easier for the company to find workers. Furthermore, selection bias is seen majorly during the recruitment of employees. Selection bias is a lot of times is unconscious. Sometimes businesses put out flyers saying they need employees but are actually looking for a certain factor. What this does is causes a lower morale in the workplace because to employees, favoritism is understood to mean that no matter what you do, your efforts won't be rewarded. Selection bias also makes you overlook potential. When management constantly favors one or a small group of people, they may be missing out on what other people have to offer. This also stunts the growth of the company substantially. When managers are not moving employees forward to positions that either better suit them or ultimately would help the company, they are hurting the company. Lastly, selection bias leads to desertion. When favoritism is knowingly happening at the workplace, employees are more vulnerable to leave the company. All this is from HRAB. Favoritism doesn't only occur in the work environment, it also plays a part in the school environment. How does favoritism occur in school? The answer, grading. When it comes to grading, for some students, teachers may be easier on grading their assignments. Some teachers will grade a certain student easier by looking past certain requirements. Every assignment given in school comes with a rubric to follow, but a lot of times kids get points taken off for not following the rubric, teachers will overlook some things in order for a student to lose less points. Favoritism also makes an appearance in school with teachers bumping up students' grades. Personally, I've known students who went to their teacher or professor asking for them to add a couple points to their grade at the end of the semester to end with a better grade. Some teachers even extend the deadline on certain assignments for some students. Sometimes the students need an extension, but a lot of times students will just forget to do an assignment and then ask for extensions. A teacher's interaction with the student can also be seen as favoritism. What I mean by this is that teachers are human too and will click with certain students better. Some people just gravitate to each other more so than other people do. And the problem with this is people or students who don't feel like they're being favored, it hurts their feelings. And the teachers also get along with some students better than others. That's just human nature. So if you feel like the teacher doesn't interact with you like other students, you will feel less liked and less valued. This leads us to our final section of how favoritism occurs at home. You may be wondering where favoritism occurs at home. Parental favoritism is a very common occurrence at home. Parental favoritism is when one or both parents display consistent favoritism towards one child or another. Siblings tend to fight, and when there is an argument, parents have to intervene, so favoritism is noticed in these situations when a parent or your parents overlook your opinion to side with your siblings. It can also be seen when a parent spends more time with the child over the other, less discipline for one child, and when one has more privileges. This makes some kids feel like even at home they are overlooked and their opinion is invalid. In short, favoritism occurs practically everywhere. Favoritism takes place at home, work, and school in many ways. Now that you see how favoritism occurs and how it makes people feel, be cautious of how you treat people. You don't want to make people feel less valuable in any environment.